Poker isn't gambling, at least not at the elite world-class level. Professional poker players describe what they do as probabilistic decision-making under uncertainty. And that might sound familiar to traders. Hi, I'm Dean Jenkins with Follow Me Trades. In this episode of the series, it's not a chart problem. We're going to talk about overtrading or death by 1,000 cuts. Going to talk about how that happens, maybe why that happens, and how we can reduce that or eliminate it from our trading. Professional poker players fold 70 to 80% of the hands they're dealt. It's not because they're scared. It's because they are selective. So they only play 20 to 30% of the hands they're dealt. They win not by playing the most opportunities, but by playing the best opportunities. A couple quick quotes here for fun from elite poker players. Dan Reed says, "You will show your poker greatness by the hands you fold, not by the hands you play." And then another one, Chris Ferguson, maybe one of the best players in the world ever. "The waiting game is what separates the amateurs from the pros." In both poker and trading, winners win by exercising restraint, selectivity, and edge over volume. All right, so most traders don't overtrade because they're undisciplined or greedy. It's because not trading sometimes can feel uncomfortable, right? Discomfort with inaction. This is a big one. If we're trading and that's work and we have a goal and a purpose, you show up for work, you feel like you should work. So when there's inaction, it can feel uncomfortable, right? So when the markets are moving and if you're sitting on your hands, you feel like maybe you're doing something wrong. It's just unproductive. Maybe we're missing opportunities, or can even inaction is incompetence. If I were better at this, I'd be in a trade right now. So trading can become just, actively placing orders and stuff can be a way to relieve unease, but it's not a way to express an edge in trading. So overtrading is often just discomfort looking for relief. So that might be worth just considering. The other is loss repair, kind of quiet revenge trading. Now, maybe not anger, but unfinished business. I need to get, back even, get into profit, unfinished business, right? Maybe after a loss, the mind wants resolution. And in some cases, the trader isn't thinking, "Oh, show them." They're just thinking, "Hey, I need one good trade to get back even. So let's find it and do it now." And that belief turns time and frequency into false tools for control. More trades doesn't fix losses. And in fact, it can increase the opportunities for errors, maybe the velocity of the loss. And I talked before about the quicksand of drawdown and how damaging that can be in a previous episode. And we tend to think that effort equals deservedness, right? Kind of feels responsible. If I work hard, I will be rewarded for it. If I'm watching closely, taking trades, I'm doing the work, maybe the subconscious assumption is, hey, I should be rewarded for that. Activity should matter. But the markets don't care how hard you're trying. Markets don't pay for effort. They pay for asymmetry. Big winners, small losers, right? And that doesn't always come just from frequency. In fact, selectivity can make that more likely an outcome. An opportunity abundance illusion, and modern trading platforms and the data available maybe makes this worse because we have an infinite number of tickers available, infinite number of time frames, alerts, And, some markets trading around the clock. And you can maybe start to feel, make this assumption, if I don't take this trade, I'm leaving money on the table. These opportunities are just whooshing by me. But opportunity doesn't increase edge. It dilutes selectivity. More opportunity can result in lower standards, right? Or just maybe too much to filter through. So you just, trade activity for selectivity. And maybe identity pressure, and maybe this is subtle, powerful. It's like, hey, I identify as a trader, I should be trading. And not trading can feel like maybe failing that role, not living up to it. And so I place trades to just, prove competence. Hey, I can do this, I'm doing this, I'm productive, validate I'm a trader, and, be in the game, not, again, miss opportunities. Sometimes we trade to protect who we think we are, not to grow capital. But, if we grow capital, that will better define us as successful traders. I think you'd agree. All right. And so overtrading, just to kind of wrap it up, it's not always just about wanting more money. It can be about wanting resolution of discomfort, uncertainty, a sense of being behind. And that's why it can be so persistent and why math alone can't fix it. So here's some questions I've learned to ask myself, as I'm, waiting for a trade or, deciding to take a trade is, why am I taking this trade? There should be a clear, objective, quantifiable reason why I'm taking the trade. I ask myself, is this the best of the best, or is it just available? Am I feeling rushed, frustrated, bored, afraid of missing out? Would I still take this trade if, at the moment I was really in solid profit already? And if this trade loses, this may be the most important question. If this trade loses, will I feel okay? Or will I be surprised or feel responsible or guilty? Because in a healthy trading system, we understand that some trades are going to lose. If we take a trade, maybe, push ourselves into it, talk ourselves into it, and then it loses. And if we say, I knew that wasn't a good trade, that's worth reflecting on. So it's a good question. If this trade loses, will I be okay? Okay in the terms of I'm following my rules, I'm following my system, and I know that some trades are going to lose, and this was okay. And it was an acceptable small loss. Am I letting the trade convince me, or am I convincing myself? Are the indicators I use, the setup, are they clear? Are they strong? Are they present? Or do I just want to get into a trade and, maybe push the margins on that a little bit? So those, I think, some things that might be helpful to reflect on. I hope you found this discussion helpful. And if you're interested in the rest of the series, there's a link at the end to the actual series of episodes, and then some other additional videos that on risk management, trade management that you might find helpful. So thank you. And again, hope you found it helpful. All right.